2 flashes, definitely better than 1 flash. But 3 or more flashes, that's when things can get really confusing. Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that's got everything for us photographers. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to manage multiple flashes without getting lost and confused. I'm going to do it by setting up a really simple 3-light portrait that looks good for corporate photography, family photography. It's all very safe and sensible, but then we're going to go a bit crazy with some colour, but we'll get to that in a little bit. In theory, there's no maximum number of lights you can have, but there are some guidelines on how to set them up. Now, there are a few things you should bear in mind. To make life easier, choose flashes that are all from the same manufacturer. They don't have to be the same flash, but if they can all be controlled by the same transmitter, that really helps. Next, there are channels and groups. Channels. Every single flash you'll want to work with has to be on the same channel. Now, channels are there if you have a room full of photographers, you want to make sure that they're not accidentally triggering your lights. I'm absolutely fine, so they're all on the same channel, we're good to go. Groups. This is group A, this is group B, this is group C. It doesn't matter what I have, but I've put each of my lights on its own separate group. Groups are there to separate the powers for each flash. So for example, I can set Group A and have all the lights on Group A fire at, I don't know, 1/4 power. I can take Group B and take them down to 1/64 power. Let's try that. I can take Group C and put them all to full power. And then when I fire the flashes either by pressing the shutter or the test button on the transmitter, whoa, why did I put that one on maximum? They will all fire at their appropriate power settings. Okay, right, with that in mind, I think the best thing to do is probably get a model in. Let's get some lights set and turned down in power, and let's get shooting. To help me out today, I've got the awesome Sophie. Sophie's going to be the model for this photo session, and as you can see, all of my lights are set up. I'm ready to start taking photos. So let's show you how not to do it. So I read somewhere that you should put all your lights on 1/8 power and then work from there. So that's what I've done, all on 1/8 power. Okay, Sophie, here we go. Quick little test photo. Oh, hang on. That's not what I want at all. So I'm just going to change that light. I think it's that one. Let's go with that. Oh no, that's not the one. It's not that one. Don't worry about that. It's not that one. I'm going to change this one. Here we go, Sophie. Oh, it's now that's not right. Which light is that one again? This is not a good way to work. Yes, you're going to get some results, but you've got no control if you don't know what each of these individual lights are doing. So let's take things apart and start again. F8, that's exactly what I'm taking pictures at. So the way to work with multiple lights is actually to start with a single light. Get that right and then bring your other lights in. So you don't need a flash meter, you can just do trial and error. It does help a little bit if you have one, but this is what a single light looks like. Okay, Sophie, here we go. And this, even on its own, is great lighting. You'll notice that the background is fairly dark. That's intentional. I don't want this light to interfere with the background particularly. However, the shadows on the other side, we're going to fill with a second flash. So top tip, make sure you turn your second light on before you put it way up in the air. So let's put that up there like that. So my second light is going to be on the opposite side to the main light. This is a fill light. Its job is to fill in the shadows a little bit. So with this light, I don't want it to be the same exposure. I want this light to be slightly less exposure. So I'm actually going to turn off my key light and turn on the second light and see what exposure we get. What I actually want is 2 stops less light than the key light. So F8, 2 stops less is F4. There we go. So this light looks like this. And when you combine it with the key light, it looks like this. We still have that nice dark background. We still have a lit side and a bit of shadow on Sophie, but it's filled in. It's a much more even exposure than the first one light only picture. The third light is the Flashpoint Explore 300. Its job is purely to put light onto the background, to lift this dark, shadowy area. Now, how bright should that be? Well, actually, I don't know. It's a matter of take a photo and review with this one. So I'm going to start around about 1/8 power. Let's take a test shot. Here we go, Sophie. And actually, that doesn't look too bad. I think we'll go with that. So there we are, 3 lights correctly set up for the look that I want to achieve. I think we're ready to go. So Sophie, are you ready? Let's take a few photos like this. Unlike the flashes, which really need to come from the same manufacturer, the light modifiers you can get from anywhere and mix and match them as you need. So if you want to know what light modifiers I'm using, you'll find links to all of the gear in this video in the description below. That worked really well, but it is quite safe lighting, but you can change just 3 things and make this exact lighting a lot more exciting. And I'm going to start by changing the color of the light. So I've got a whole bunch of gels. Let's pop a orange gel onto the background and just show you what one gel does to change the photo. Adding a gel does mean that you might have to readjust your exposure a little bit. So I'm going to add an extra stop of light back there. And what we get is this burst of colour that wasn't there before. Absolutely fantastic. For the key light, I'm going to add in a blue gel. Now, it's really important when you're gelling your lights that you completely cover the light source. So I'm using these little reflectors that fit perfectly over the Evolve 200s. And that light on its own looks like this. For the fill light, I've got this rather nice purple colour, so let's add this in the same way, and that gel looks like this. The next thing I'm going to add is something for Sophie. So we've actually taken away her chair, that gives her more options for posing, and we're going to add in this rather stylish raincoat. It'll look way better on Sophie, trust me, it'll look really good. It's a little bit shiny, which is going to work very nicely with the gels. Let's just take a test photo and see how this looks. Okay, Sophie, quick little test photo, here we go. And the last thing I'm going to change is a little bit of post-processing, because we're going to take those colours in Photoshop or Lightroom and give them a real push to make it punchy and colourful. So there you go, same lighting. The lights haven't moved at all. We've just changed a couple of things to make it more interesting. Sophie, are you ready? Okay, let's take a few photos like this. Here we go. One thing I haven't mentioned is the fact that everything I'm using is set to manual mode. So that means the flashes are manual mode. My camera is in manual mode, so I'm choosing an ISO, a shutter speed, and an aperture. And most usefully, when it comes to color gel work, I'm also using a custom white balance. Although because I'm shooting in RAW, that can be tweaked later in post-processing. And that really was great fun, but it does show that complex, colourful lighting doesn't have to be complex, because I didn't move the lights from the first setup, the safe, sensible corporate lighting position. If you're up for moving your lights around, well, the lighting possibilities with multi-flashes is pretty much endless. Now, if you've enjoyed this video or you've got any questions, leave me a comment down below. Click on the bell icon and you'll never miss a video right here in Adorama TV. We have new stuff coming out pretty much every single day. And of course, if you haven't done so already, click on that subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.